Here's my story, and man, it's a wild one that feels like it was ripped from some soap opera. But it's all too real. My wife decided to walk away from our marriage, convinced she'd found some guy who was a serious upgrade from me. Like I was yesterday's news. I'd been by her side for years, pouring my heart into being a decent husband and a solid dad to our two girls, who are 13 and 15 now. But apparently, that wasn't enough for her. She thought she was too good for what we had and was ready to leap to this new guy like he was her ticket to a better life. Fast forward a bit, and now she's practically begging me to take her back, desperate to stop the divorce from going through. Turns out, the guy she ran off with kicked her to the curb, and suddenly she's acting like our life together is worth saving after all. 8 months ago, my soon-to-be ex dropped the divorce papers on me, and we've been living apart ever since while she moved in with the guy she was sneaking around with. The divorce is set to finalize next month, but now she's pulling a complete 180, pleading for us to try and patch things up. It's about me, a 37-year-old guy, and my wife, who's 38. We go way back, having met in college when we were just kids figuring out the world. We dated for 5 years before getting hitched, which seemed like a smart move at the time, giving us plenty of time to really know each other. But looking back, those years didn't show me who she truly was, or maybe they did, and I was too naive to see it, thinking I was the guy she'd stick with forever when I might have just been her safe choice. Our marriage was pretty good for the most part, with just the usual bumps you'd expect, nothing too dramatic. Our daughters have been the heart of our family, growing up fast while we tried to keep things stable for them. But then, last January, I started noticing my wife was glued to her phone way more than usual, like it was her lifeline. It wasn't just casual scrolling. Something about it felt off. And I got this sinking feeling in my stomach. When I tried to bring it up, she did what so many people in her shoes do. She lied straight to my face, flipped the script to make it seem like I was the problem, and made me feel like I was losing my mind for even questioning her. It was textbook. She'd hide her phone when I got close, act all secretive, barely give me the time of day, and then twist everything when I called her out, leaving me second-guessing myself. I'll be honest, I wasn't perfect. I've got regrets, things I wish I'd done differently, but the way she treated me like I was nothing while she was carrying on with this other guy was just brutal. She'd act cold and mean, and there I was, trying to be the nice guy, bending over backward to fix whatever she said was wrong with us. I thought if I could just be kinder, more understanding, maybe I could save our marriage. But all that got me was more heartbreak. Trying to please someone who's already checked out never works. When the truth came out in early June, she admitted to an emotional affair and said she'd only been physical with him twice. Emotional, physical, doesn't matter, it's all betrayal, and I wasn't buying her downplaying it. Then, of course, she turned it around and blamed me for her cheating, like I'd pushed her into it. She claimed she wanted to work things out, so we gave reconciliation a shot, but her heart wasn't in it. I'd catch her still texting this guy, and when I told her how much it hurt, she'd brush it off, saying they were just friends. She'd delete their messages even after I asked her not to, making it clear she wasn't serious about fixing us. I was gutted, telling her how uncomfortable it made me, but it was like talking to a wall. Reconciliation was a pipe dream. When I brought up divorce, she'd cry, apologize, and beg me not to go through with it, but I could see through it. She wanted to keep her fun on the side while staying married, avoiding the mess of a divorce and the hit to her reputation. Whenever I tried to talk about her affair, she'd get mad, and somehow I'd end up being the one saying sorry, which just shows how twisted things got. After a couple of months, she started vanishing again, claiming she was visiting family who needed her. I wasn't born yesterday. I knew she was off seeing her affair partner. When I called her out, she'd spin these convincing stories, but it was all lies. I was still trying to hold things together, probably because of our kids. I didn't want to tear their world apart, and as a dad, I was doing my best to shield them, but it just kept getting worse. One weekend, she disappeared entirely, not answering my calls or texts. When she finally showed up, she fed me some nonsense about her cousin getting sick and needing to rush to the hospital, saying she'd left her phone at her sister's place. Come on, Nobody forgets their phone these days, especially not someone who's practically glued to it. All that time, I was busting my tail to make our marriage work, but she didn't care about my efforts. She checked out of our relationship long ago, and honestly, she probably lost even more respect for me because I kept trying so hard while she was off with someone else. By mid-December, right before the holidays, she dropped the bomb. She was moving out. She said she'd been unhappy for a while, that she still cared about me but was in love with this other guy, who she called her soulmate. That one hit like a truck. I remember breaking down, crying for hours, begging her to stay. But her mind was made up. Looking back, I wish I'd had more self-respect instead of pleading with someone who'd treat me like that. We had to tell our daughters, which was brutal, especially so close to Christmas. She said I could have the kids during the week, and she'd visit on weekends since her new guy's apartment was too small for them. A week later, she filed for divorce, and that was the lowest point of my life. I grieved for weeks, still hoping there was a chance to fix things. But all she'd say was she was sorry for the pain she caused, doubling down that her decision was final. I kept asking myself why I was fighting for someone who'd hurt me so badly. Maybe I was holding on to who I thought she was, not who she'd become. We kept the whole mess quiet. Nobody except us knew the full story. Both her parents and mine thought we were just separated, and we let them believe that for now. Controlling the narrative felt like the only thing we could manage in the middle of all this chaos. Things took a turn when my wife's mom called me by the end of January, practically demanding to know what was really going on between us. I invited her and my father-in-law over to our place, and sitting there in our living room, I spilled every painful detail about my wife's affair and our crumbling marriage. The weight of it all hit me hard, and I ended up breaking down. Tears streaming down my face as my mother-in-law wrapped me in a hug, trying to comfort me through my hurt. They both apologized for how their daughter had acted, and their support meant the world, even if it didn't fix the ache in my chest. Later, I opened up to my own parents and a few close friends, and before long, word spread like wildfire. My phone started buzzing with messages, some folks offering kind words to lift me up, others speaking harshly about my wife's choices, and honestly, it felt good to know most people weren't taking her side. Not long after, around mid-April, my wife reached out, her voice shaky and full of tears, accusing me of turning everyone against her. She claimed I'd ruined her life by telling the truth, but the way I saw it, she'd done that all on her own with her actions. She went on about how people were sending threatening messages to her and her affair partner, how her dad couldn't stand her, and how her sisters refused to even talk to her unless it was to throw insults her way. I couldn't help but think, what did she expect? That everyone would cheer her on for betraying her family and walking out on us right before the holidays? It was clear her choices had burned bridges she never thought she'd lose. By early June, her fling with the affair partner crashed and burned, and she showed up at my place to see me and the kids, looking like a shadow of herself. She admitted the guy had kicked her out, saying the pressure of their relationship was too much for him. Knowing her, I suspected it wasn't just stress. Maybe he got bored once the thrill of sneaking around with a married woman wore off, or he found someone new who caught his eye. Either way, she was left high and dry, living out of a hotel room, looking worn out and weighed down by sadness. She asked if she could move back in with us, but I stood my ground and said no. Finally finding the strength to put myself first, it felt like a weight lifted, knowing I wasn't going to let her walk back into our lives like nothing happened, especially after how she'd hurt me and our daughters. She took it better than I expected, saying she understood, but then asked if she could spend more time with our girls to make up for all the moments she'd missed. She wanted to come by in the afternoons, cook meals for them, and just be present, and I agreed, thinking it could be good for the kids to have their mom around, even if I wasn't sure how they felt about her after everything. Our daughters, being teenagers, are sharp. They likely know more about their mom's betrayal than I realize, and I've heard stories where girls their age fiercely protect their dads after something like this. So I wondered how they were processing it all. My wife started showing up regularly, cooking my favorite dishes, tidying up the house, and even leaving little notes with flowers, saying she loved me when I got home from work. It was clear she was trying to wiggle her way back into my life, doing all the things she never bothered with when our marriage was falling apart. Soon, she began dropping hints about how much she missed me, asking if divorce was really what I wanted, but I dodged those conversations, not ready to go there. By the last week, she mentioned she'd been going to individual counseling and floated the idea of us trying marriage counseling together. I wasn't biting, after everything. I couldn't see myself opening that door again, though I'll admit part of me was curious about her efforts. She started dressing in ways she knew I liked, putting on makeup, and even tried to get physical, but I turned her down flat. That part of our relationship felt too broken, tainted by her betrayal, and I wasn't about to pretend otherwise. She kept at it, bringing thoughtful gifts and bringing up counseling again and again, and one weekend, she broke down crying, begging me not to finalize the divorce. She said she'd been through enough and just wanted her family back, promising to do whatever it took to make things right. It was a strange mix of emotions. Part of me felt a twisted satisfaction seeing her struggle after all she'd put me through, like she was finally getting a taste of the pain she caused. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't still love her, at least the version of her I thought I knew. Still, I'm numb, torn between that lingering affection and the reality of her choices. When we tried to reconcile before, she wasn't fully in, still tangled up with that other guy. So why should I believe this time would be different? The moment I started pulling away, showing I was done, she flipped a switch, acting like the perfect wife, cooking, cleaning, dressing up, all the things she could have done when we were fighting to save our marriage. If that guy hadn't dumped her, would she be here now, trying so hard? I doubt it. She's only acting this way because she's out of options, and that's a hard truth to swallow. I keep wondering what my daughters think. They're old enough to see through any sugar-coated version of the story their mom might have fed them. In so many cases, teenage girls side with their dads, feeling betrayed by their moms for wrecking the family, and I can't imagine mine are thrilled about her trying to waltz back in. For now, I'm standing firm, not letting her guilt or tears sway me. I've learned the hard way that you can't beg someone to be who you want them to be, and I'm done chasing a version of her that doesn't exist. This whole mess has taught me to value myself more, and I'm not about to let her think she can hurt us and still have a home to come back to. If you've been following this wild ride, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button to keep up with more stories like this on the channel. And if this hit home or got you thinking, give the video a like. It really helps spread the word. Thanks for sticking with me through this one.